Meet the author, Muttath varkey. He was a Malayalam novelist, short story writer and poet. The novel ഒരു കുടയും കുഞ്ഞു പെങ്ങളും is one of his most popular novels. It tells us the story of a girl who was subjected to humiliation just because she was poor. The Little Girl and the Umbrella is the free translation of the first chapter of the famous Malayalam novel ഒരു കുടയും കുഞ്ഞു പെങ്ങളും, written by Muttath varkey. The novel first published in 1961. The language used by Muttath varkey is simple and touching. The story was about a poor girl, Lily, and her brother, Baby. They were orphans. They lived with their aunt. She was very cruel to them. One day, Baby left the house, promising Lily he would come back with a beautiful umbrella to her. After some days, to get rid of the cruel aunt, Lily also went in search of her brother. Lily reached in a doctor's house, and thereafter she lived a luxurious life. Baby, in search of Lily, met an elderly girl, Saudamini. She and her husband, Gopi, helped Baby to find out Lily. Baby became a doctor and married Molly. Lily married Joy. മുട്ടത്ത് വർക്കി കുട്ടികൾക്കു വേണ്ടി എഴുതിയ മലയാളം നോവലാണ് ഒരു കുടയും കുഞ്ഞു പെങ്ങളും. 1961 ഈ നോവൽ ആദ്യം പ്രസിദ്ധീകരിച്ചത്. മാതാപിതാക്കളില്ലാതെ അമ്മയുടെ സഹോദരിയോടൊപ്പം അനാഥരായി വളർന്ന ബേബി, ലില്ലി എന്നീ കുട്ടികളുടെ കഥയാണിത്. സ്നേഹബന്ധങ്ങളുടെ മഹത്വത്തിലേക്ക് കുട്ടികളെ കൈപിടിച്ചാനയിക്കുന്ന രചനയാണ് ഇത്. മലയാളത്തിൻ്റെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട എഴുത്തുകാരനായ മുട്ടത്ത് വർക്കിയുടെ ലളിതവും സുന്ദരവുമായ രചനാരീതി കുട്ടികളെയും മുതിർന്നവരെയും ഒരുപോലെ ആകർഷിക്കുന്നു. അതുതന്നെയാണ് തലമുറകൾ ഒരു കുടയും കുഞ്ഞു പെങ്ങളും നെഞ്ചിലേറ്റാൻ കാരണവും. മാതാപിതാക്കന്മാരില്ലാതെ അമ്മയുടെ സഹോദരിയോടൊപ്പം വളർന്ന ബേബി, ലില്ലി എന്നീ കുട്ടികളാണ് നോവലിലെ പ്രധാന കഥാപാത്രങ്ങൾ. മഴയുള്ള ഒരു ദിവസം സ്കൂളിൽ പോവുകയായിരുന്ന ലില്ലിയെ കുടയിൽ കയറ്റാതിരുന്ന പണക്കാരിയായ സഹപാഠി ഗ്രേസിയുടെ നെറ്റി ബേബി എറിഞ്ഞു പൊട്ടിക്കുന്നു. മടങ്ങി വരുമ്പോൾ സഹോദരിക്ക് ചില്ലു കൈപ്പിടിയിൽ കുരുവിയുടെ രൂപമുള്ള കുടയുമായി വരുമെന്ന് ഉറപ്പു നൽകി ബേബി വീട് വിട്ടിറങ്ങുന്നു. തുടർന്ന് വല്യമ്മയുടെ മർദ്ദനം സഹിക്കാതെ വരുന്നതോടെ വീട് വിടുന്ന ലില്ലി ഒരു ഡോക്ടറുടെ വീട്ടിലെത്തി അയാളുടെ മക്കൾക്കൊപ്പം വളരുന്നു. നഗരത്തിൽ എത്തിപ്പെടുന്ന ബേബി സൗദാമിനി എന്ന സംഗീത അധ്യാപികയുടെ വീട്ടിൽ എത്തിച്ചേരുന്നു. ഡോക്ടറുടെ മക്കളുടെ സംഗീത അധ്യാപികയായ സൗദാമിനിയിൽ നിന്ന് ബേബിയെക്കുറിച്ചറിഞ്ഞ ഡോക്ടർ അവനെ തൻ്റെ വീട്ടിലേക്ക് കൂട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് പഠിപ്പിച്ച് ഡോക്ടറാക്കുന്നു. ഡോക്ടറുടെ മകൾ മോളിയെ ബേബിയും ലില്ലിയെ ഡോക്ടറുടെ മകൻ ജോയിയും വിവാഹം കഴിക്കുന്നു. ഡോക്ടർ ബേബി നടത്തിയ ശസ്ത്രക്രിയയിലൂടെ ഒരു യുവതിയുടെ രോഗം മാറുന്നു. അതിൽ സന്തോഷം പങ്കിടാനെത്തുന്ന യുവതിയും ഭർത്താവും പണം നൽകിയെങ്കിലും അത് സ്വീകരിക്കാത്ത ബേബി പകരം ഒരു കുട സമ്മാനമായി ചോദിക്കുന്നു. അവർ കുടയുമായി എത്തിയപ്പോൾ അത് ഏറ്റുവാങ്ങാൻ ലില്ലിയും എത്തിയിരുന്നു. സമ്മാനം കൈമാറിയപ്പോൾ ആ യുവതി ഗ്രേസിയാണെന്ന് ബേബി ലില്ലിയെ അറിയിക്കുന്നു. ലെറ്റ്സ് റീഡ് ദി ഓപ്പണിംഗ് ചാപ്റ്റർ ഓഫ് the famous novel. The sky was cloudy. A cold breeze was blowing languidly. Breeze, wind. A cold wind was blowing languidly. Languidly means slowly, with little energy. The trees on both sides of the country road were swaying gently in the wind, swaying to move slowly from one side to other. Lily, it's going to rain. You go with Gracie, Baby said, pointing to the girl from the Poomangalam family, their rich neighbors. What about you? Lily asked him. I'll run. Baby started running. The raindrops started falling. 1, 2, 4. The rain quickened. Lily, you go with Gracie, Baby said. Why did Baby say so? It was going to rain and they had no umbrella. They saw Gracie walking in front of them, holding an umbrella. Lily also ran, holding her slate and books against her chest. She felt the rain lashing her face, beating. She felt the rain beating her face. She placed the slate over her book. Even if the raindrops fell on the slate, nothing would happen. It would not get spoiled. Gracie, can I too? Lily begged and tried to get in under Gracie's umbrella. But Gracie moved away from Lily. Gracie's neat clothes were made of fine silk. But Lily was clad in quite old and torn clothes. Is it just a drizzle or a heavy downpour? How does the author describe the rain in the passage? It's a heavy downpour. Heavy drops of rain fell like pebbles falling from the sky. Gracie, please, Lily begged again. Go away, girl. I won't let you in under my umbrella. Gracie said stubbornly, without changing her opinion. Lily could not control her tears. She wept bitterly. It's an expression of grief, sadness. The rain also was quite cruel to her. It came down heavily on her. Lily ran on and on, thoroughly wet, completely wet. Heavy drops of rain fell on her face like pebbles falling from the sky. Muddy water ran against her little feet. Why did Lily weep bitterly? Gracie did not allow Lily to share her umbrella. Lily took shelter in the veranda of a small shop on the country road. Her clothes and books were wet. What really upset her was her books getting wet. Standing in a corner of the veranda, she started sobbing. She cried, crying noisily. She saw Gracie passing by with her umbrella. The raindrops flowing down from Lily's hair blurred her eyes as they mixed with tears, blood became less clear. Lily saw Gracie passing by holding her umbrella open. What might Lily's feelings be? Lily is broken-hearted and cried. The bitter cold made her shiver and her teeth started to chatter. Her dress was now completely drenched in the rain, wet thoroughly. She placed her slate and books on the floor. She squeezed the edges of her skirt to wring water from it. She pressed firmly the edges of her skirt. The edges of the skirt split. It was a very old skirt, the only one she had. At home, she always had to change into a bath towel. We usually enjoy playing in the rain, but Lily could not enjoy the rain. Why? The rain was quite cruel to her, so she could not enjoy the rain. Cite an expression which suggests that Lily belongs to a poor family. It was a very old skirt, the only one she had. Lily and her brother Baby had lost both their parents. Their father died 3 years ago and their mother about a year ago. They now lived with their aunt, their mother's elder sister. The fat, dark aunt with a flat nose was a 50-year-old widow. She had a son in the army who sent her 20 rupees every month. She was known to be a tight-fisted woman, miserly. She had no land of her own. She lived in a hut on a plot owned by the Poomangalam family, for whom she worked as a maid, a servant. The money sent by her son was deposited in a private bank, but after a few months, the bank closed down. The loss of money was unbearable to her, and she started showing signs of insanity, madness. How does the author describe the aunt? The fat, dark aunt with a flat nose was a 50-year-old lady. She was a tight-fisted woman. She took all her anger on her niece Lily. She behaved like a devil to her niece and nephew and often beat them up. She hated the children going to school. She ordered them to draw water from well, wash clothes, and do all the cooking. Baby was 11 years old and was studying in class 4. Lily, 3 years younger, was in class 2. They were perhaps the poorest children in their school. Do you think children should do such works? Why? No. Children can do small works to help parents. They should get proper care and education. Lily sighed as the second bell rang at school. The rain showed no sign of stopping or slowing down. The cold wind was still blowing. If she was late for the classes, her teacher would scold her. At times, she would beat her too. Lily started running to school. The rain drenched her clothes again. She held her books and slate close to her chest. Suddenly, she slipped and fell on the road. Her skirt was soiled and got torn. Her knees were bruised and blood oozed out. Bruised, injured, and blood oozed out, flew from the injury. Still, she felt no pain. A page of her book was torn. Her slate was broken as well. She stood in the rain and cried bitterly. Why did Lily feel no pain though blood oozed out of her bruise? Lily wanted to reach school soon. Because of her strong desire to study, she didn't feel pain. When she reached school, some children began laughing at her. The teacher banged the cane on the table and everybody became silent. Banged, struck noisily. The teacher glared at Lily, looked angrily. Why did you come drenched in the rain? Don't you have an umbrella? No, teacher, said Lily, wiping her tears with her hand, rubbing her tears. Go and stand in the veranda. You will dirty the classroom. The teacher pointed to the veranda. Lily saw Gracie giggling, laughing in a silly way. Her heart sank. The rain had stopped, but tears still rolled out of her cheeks. The teacher did not allow Lily to enter the class. What do you think about the teacher? The teacher could not understand Lily's feelings. Lily saw Gracie giggling. Why did Gracie giggle? What was its effect on Lily? Gracie did not let Lily under her umbrella. Lily saw Gracie giggling. Her heart sank. Let's review the story. How does the author describe the rainy season? The sky was cloudy. A cold breeze was blowing languidly. The trees on both sides of the country road were swaying gently in the wind. The raindrops started falling. The rain quickened. Heavy drops of rain fell like bubbles from the sky. What do you think of Gracie's attitude towards Lily? Lily was poor, and her aunt was a maid in Gracie's Pumangalam family. Gracie did not like Lily. Lily was her neighbor and classmate. She is an orphan too. Gracie could have been more sympathetic and lovable to Lily. Describe the aunt's character in the story. Aunt was a tight-fisted woman. She showed signs of insanity. She behaved like a devil to her niece and nephew and often beat them. She hated them going to school and ordered them to do heavy works. If you were Lily's friend, how would you help her? If I were Lily's friend, you complete it. Lily was standing on the school veranda. The class teacher, Gracie, and the other children were looking at her. Lily's face became pale. What would Lily's thoughts be? What a damn day! Gracie did not allow me to share her umbrella. How selfish she is! Teacher did not allow me to enter the class. Why is she so cruel to me? Maybe she is right. I was drenched in the rain. But why should my classmates giggle when they saw me? I wanted to hide myself somewhere. Who is there to buy me an umbrella? I will tell baby to buy me one. Can he? Who knows? Lily told baby everything that had happened at school. Baby consoled her. Write the likely conversation between Lily and Baby. Lily, brother, today I drenched in the rain. Baby, didn't you go with Gracie? Now you try to complete the conversation. Go and stand in the veranda. Teacher didn't allow Lily to enter the classroom. What do you think about the teacher's behavior? Write your views in a few sentences. Teacher did not allow Lily to enter the classroom. Besides, she commented that Lily would dirty the classroom. Teacher did not ask her the reason for being late. Other children laughed at her. Teacher did not try to understand the feeling of poor Lily. It was very cruel. Pick out the words and sentences from the story which tell you that Lily and Baby were very poor. Lily was clad in quite old and torn clothes. There are so many words and sentences. You find it out from the story. Is rain a joyful experience to you? Write a brief paragraph on rain. You start like this. Rain is a joyful experience to me.